On this episode of the John 1911 podcast, did Stonewall Jackson have ZB-26s? Is the bump stock ban a bridge too far? Comedy show trials are awesome, and Godzilla versus Ultraman.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze. This is episode 118 of the John 1911 podcast. How was your night, Freeze?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, you're off this week, so you sound
Yes, I am.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So
I start back my work week tomorrow night, Christmas Eve. So basically, basically the jungle's going to be hopping, baby.
Oh my God! See, the thing is, now you can't call it a jungle because we all used to live in the concrete jungle, but now jungle somehow has a bad connotation. So
Yeah, what the fuck ever. Who cares? I mean, look, New York City elected a fucking socialist that's got the IQ of like 30 to the goddamn House of Representatives. So I really don't get
dude. I'm glad you brought her up. Did you hear the latest?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we on a government shutdown right now?
Partial. It's a partial government shutdown.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Nobody wants to talk about this, but Trump funded the military well in the next year.
Yes.
So it's like, so I noticed like CNN or one of the news outlets, they were forced to run a story because they can't be like, oh my God, the troops aren't going to get paid, or oh my God, what about all this? They had to run a story and they were breathlessly talking about what's going to happen to the Coast Guard.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh my God, what's going to happen to our country without the Coast Guard? And it's like, yeah, they're fine. But so anyway, like I've always predicted that,
or as I call them, the almost Navy. Oh, I'm just joking.
The most famous member of the United States Coast Guard is Chris Costa, the firearms trainer. He was a Coast Guard member. Other than I don't know anyone else that was in the Coast Guard.
How sad is the Coast Guard when Chris Costa is your most famous member? Wow. Yeah. I feel sorry for the Coast Guard.
Okay. So anyway, Ocasio-Cortez or IQ 30, as I guess we're going to call her. That is her name now in perpetuity. I predicted that she's going to be a nightmare for the left, and not in ways. Yeah. Well, check this out. So she's come out in the past week. First, she came out and she was like, wait a minute. What do you mean that members of Congress can be in session and vote on legislation that affects corporations that are traded publicly on a stock market, but can also turn around and buy and sell shares on the stock market? She's like, we should be able to do that, which everybody else, like, here's the thing, technically, like, this is a perfect example. If this was a financial podcast and we were talking about AT&T stock, I don't think they're even around anymore as an actual company like that. Maybe they are. But yeah, like if I were to be like, you got to buy AT&T or you got to do whatever AT&T, technically the SEC says that I'm frozen. Is it 30 or 90 days from making any trades? So that's why you'll see a lot of people on television, if they invest in the markets, they have a blind trust that somebody else manages because they can't be like, breaking news, Facebook just was outed as a giant pedophile ring and the stock tanks. And, the guy could have gone out and sold his Facebook stock 5 minutes before on his phone before he walked out to the news anchor desk and like did the story. So she came out and she's like, wait a minute, you mean members of Congress don't have to abide by this? It's like, yeah, how do you think he's worth all that money? How do you think all these people go like, look, I can kick a Republican too. Old Speaker of the House, Dennis, he was a high school wrestling coach. When he went to Congress, he had like,
John Boehner was a bartender in his brother's bar.
Was he really?
Yes, he was. Columbus, Ohio.
When he was elected?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Look it up.
You would probably know better than me. Hey, watch your microphone, by the way. Watch your microphone, by the way. It sounds like you're soup canning, like you might be covering your microphone up.
No, I've got it right in front of me. But yeah, but my point is, how does a bartender become a multimillionaire?
Well, Denny Hastert, like he was a school teacher, then like he ended up leaving Congress. He was Speaker of the House. He was worth, I don't know, like whatever, I don't know how many millions of dollars, but it wasn't a million, it was multiples. And it was like, how in the hell does that happen? So anyway, so she came out and she, they're like, shut up. And now this week she's come out and she goes, because she's young and she has no friends.
Right, and she's in Congress. Actually, she's actually pretty stupid.
Well, but you know what? I'm not going to actually I'm going to be generous. The truth is, she's idealistic and she's naive. And not everything she says is wrong. Not everything. Like a broken clock is, but let me get to the point. This is the point. Let me get to the point. She came out and she said, if we're going to have a government shutdown, we should furlough Congress's salaries.
And you know what? I'm actually okay with that.
Everybody's okay with that, but nobody fucking talks about that. And it's like, they're like, shut up, bitch. And it's like they're gonna want to kill her.
She is typically the broken clock. She's stupid. Okay, you can say young and naive. I say stupid because she's not very bright. She is not a very bright individual.
No, she's not educated. She really isn't educated.
No, actually, I think she was a fucking bartender.
I've known some pretty smart bartenders, by the way. But
actually, so have I. But hey, who knows? She could be Speaker of the House one day. Who the fuck knows? But,
yeah.
But look, the point is, she's not a very bright individual. But again, just like a broken clock, the broken clock's correct twice a day.
Yeah. The bad news is I haven't finished the NFA paperwork on the what's it called? The Gemtech Integra Upper.
I call it the boat anchor in the armory, but hey, whatever.
It's not that heavy. You stop.
Look, and I told you this off pod. When you told me you went for it, I'm like, fuck me, god damn it, son of a bitch. But then I'm thinking, well, when the paperwork goes through, a year and a half from now, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, bitches. So it's a sword. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why did he spend that fucking money? But then it's like, well, when it comes through and we have it, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck yeah.
I've already had two members of the SWAT team. That are like, when you get that, let me know so I can shoot. We can shoot it. We can figure out if we want some.
Exactly. It's like, what? Okay. It's, I know it's kind of one of those things, but look, here's the thing. As much as I'm like, Jesus Christ, why'd you do it? Truth is, it was a good deal. You had to jump on it when you did because those son of a bitches go quick.
Yeah, it wasn't a good deal. It's like you just can't find them.
No, it wasn't a good deal. But the thing is, when they come on the market, they're gone.
Yeah, and it was just like, fuck. Because I was like, we've covered this already in pod. So anyway, until the government comes back in the session, my NFA paperwork is even half done. It's like, oh, great. I just been too busy to do the photograph and all that stuff on the app. So, it is what it is. Hey, woke up this morning. You probably got up earlier than I did. I was up. What the hell happened in Indonesia? They had a tsunami?
I have not heard. I don't know. I haven't heard. I've been watching porn all morning, so I haven't heard any regular news.
So, apparently there's so apparently, let's see here. Okay, here we go. So off of Indonesia, off of the coast of Sumatra, apparently Krakatoa was involved. So what they think happened was,
okay,
Yeah, and it's like, how much of that volcano? Well, I mean, the volcano is probably there, but it's just all underwater. That what they're saying, there's video. There apparently was an eruption or a landslide under the surface, and so nobody knew this was coming. And there were a bunch of people on a beach watching a rock band from like Sweden play. And there's video of it, and I guess the rock band is dun, 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 and like all of a sudden, wham! It comes through, and I said right now I think they have 28 dead. I think one member of the rock band, or no, let me see here. No, 222 people dead. 843 people have been injured, and 28 are still unaccounted for.
Oh, that's actually not bad for a tsunami.
Especially in a busy place like that. Yeah, it seemed like a real localized maybe tsunami. If you look, it's actually right in the Sunda Strait, so it's like a real tight area of body of water. You know, like didn't the Galloping Ghost of the Java Coast? Isn't that where is it the USS Houston? Not Houston. The USS. Didn't we have a warship go down and fight the Japs like crazy there until they got overwhelmed in the early days of World War II? Yeah, I think it was the Sunda Strait, because I'm actually looking at the map and it looks like the a thing of an Orbat that I saw. Okay. So, but anyway, it's a real tight area of geography. So, like, a tsunami in this wouldn't shoot all the way across the ocean. I think it probably bounced around in there kind of like an echo, and it's pretty it's it's like I have no idea. So I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? So all right, I guess we don't know about that. So you and I, before we went live, we were talking about we did so because you could read anything on the internet, and we've determined that the ZB-26, we've got documentation that actually it was used by Stonewall Jackson when they pulled it out of the armory in Richmond, and so now it's a Confederate gun, and it's worth like 10 times more.
Well, absolutely, it's actually worth about 100 times more, and because as I was telling you, I have documentation that ZB was taken out of the Confederate armory. Signed by Robert E. Lee and Jeff Davis,
and the only reason that Robert E. Lee didn't win the war is because Kirk Douglas came back through time in a wormhole and brought the USS Nimitz with him, and they fought off the Confederates.
How the fuck can the Confederacy with ZB-26s beat F-14s? I mean, come on.
I know, yeah.
I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah. It was just a joke we have about you can find anything on the internet. Oh, it must be true. It's on the internet.
Exactly.
Hey, do we even want to talk about the bump stock ban?
Not really. Okay, you know what? Let's do like a 2-minute blurb on the bump stock. I think bump stocks are stupid. I always have. But with that being said, I'm against banning anything. But if you have to ban something, I mean, look, if it's a toss-up between bump stocks and 30-round mags, I'm taking bump stocks every fucking day of the week. And I know you can argue, well, nothing should be banned. Well, and I agree with that, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, bump stocks don't really fucking matter.
Here's the problem. Here's the counter to that argument, and I tend to agree with it. I agree with everything you said. I think I have never bump fired a weapon, actually intentionally. I've bump fired a few by accident, including pistols, even on video. But
I bump fired AKs with my finger and belt loop. But but that was real common in the 80s. But
exactly. But the problem with the bump firing or the banning of the bump fire stocks is it's opening up the door to regulating triggers. And how can you ban physics? Because you have to draw the line somewhere on how a sear works, fully automatic, semi-automatic, and you're outside the bounds of that. You're now in the triggers, and you like a fast race trigger. Somebody could, or these binary triggers or crank devices. This is wide open now to be gone after. But the practical side of me, what really pisses me off about Trump on all this horseshit is, it's like, look, there's part of my brain that says these things are fucking retarded. However, be that as it may, why didn't we fucking negotiate something here? Be like, okay, we'll give you fucking bump stocks. Give me national CCW reciprocity, or give me get rid of 922R. Like, come on, dude. I mean, the art of the deal here. Let's fucking get the deal going. Now, I've said all that. Now, let me give you this. I think this bump stock thing is going to be a huge problem for the government. I think a lot of people are not going to obey this.
Of course they're not.
No, but it's not like Uncle Jethro, who had a M2 Browning machine gun in his barn that he brought back from World War II and didn't turn it in or didn't register in '68. I think what's happened, there's so many of these bump stocks, especially the kids, dude, and all these kids are on the internet and everybody's all pissed off. I think you're going to see a lot of people. Like already you've had, is it the firearms owner protection or no? What's the there's the Gun Owners of America is suing, and there's some other group called FOP. That's a law, but firearm owners something group, they've sued, and then you have all these people. They're all on social media. They're all like, I think you're going to see I think we may actually see the first real example of national NFA. What do you call it? Disobedience here. And what was that?
I said, I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah, because if you threw a party and nobody comes, is it a party? And it's like, okay, so if all these people, this could turn into like the Bundy thing. The second if they decide to go and like jam up some kid with felony charges or SWAT his ass because he's got a stupid bump stock, or heaven forbid, it turns into something, seriously, make the sign of the cross. Heaven forbid it turns into something stupid, like somebody gets hurt trying to enforce this. People will lose their shit because this whole bump stock thing, the reason they're getting away with it, because nobody wants to admit this, but this is the truth. Even the gun owners, the shooting in Vegas and all this stuff, nobody really cares. All these people talk about machine guns. They talk about the NFA. They talk about all the shit they're going to buy and all the shit they're going to do. But the reality is the average gun owner doesn't really care to actually even figure out how this works or why. But if they see this now, this isn't 1986 when you didn't have social media and all these like-minded people are talking to each other now. And I think this could get ugly. And when you tie that into the New Jersey, and now the magazine ban in New Jersey, that supposedly I guess they could show up at your house in New Jersey and take your magazines.
Apparently they're allowed to just like randomly search your house just to see if you have magazines. Now I could be wrong on that.
I think you might be wrong on that one. You have to be wrong on that one. They have to have a reason. You have to have a warrant.
I heard it's pretty fucking bad.
I mean, oh my God. I mean, can you imagine some guy, he's in New Jersey, he's been putting up all this shit for years.
But here's the thing, okay? New Jersey has a red law. So say a neighbor calls the cops and says, oh, this guy's got 47 30-round magazines in his house. They just break in your fucking door and search your house because the red law gives them the right to do that.
Yeah, see, there's so many constitutional problems here.
Oh, fuck yeah, there are.
And it's not even the Second Amendment. We're in the like Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment and like due process. And, that's awful.
I personally think all these fucking red laws are totally fucking unconstitutional anyway. But,
they absolutely are. I mean, it's, look, it's like, well, if we think you're crazy, we should have a red flag law and we should go and take your shit away. That's
Fuck
fine. Well, hold on. See, here's the thing. When people make that argument for or against it, people that even make the argument against it are usually, again, I'm talking about gun owners, they're stupid because we have that. We've always had that. It's called mental adjudication. Ray over there is fucking crazy, and he can't take care of himself anymore. So we have to take him to court and have him mentally adjudicated, which means you're no longer responsible for yourself, and you are now the ward of somebody else. Yeah, and here's the thing. If you're too crazy to own a gun, you're too crazy to probably drive a car. You're probably too crazy to go to a hardware store. You're probably too crazy to walk the fucking streets. So let's have a trial. And let's both sides present their evidence, and then we will decide whether you need to be under community control. That's what the red law is supposed to do.
But the problem with the red laws is they get to pick and fucking choose. Okay, if you're batshit fucking crazy, oh, well, we can't do anything. The doctors aren't allowed to say anything. HIPAA laws prevent us from actually notifying anyone that this guy's crazy. But hey, if a neighbor calls and says this guy has something, we can go in there and kick in his fucking door. That's the problem with the red laws.
It's a due process problem. It's a due process problem.
Exactly.
That's what mental adjudication is supposed to address. And here's the thing: all the gun owners who are arguing against red laws need to argue with the reality of how this is supposed to work, not just all of a sudden talk. They don't address the issue. We've always had the ability to commit crazy people.
Yes, but they don't. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with these red laws, then the authorities get to pick and choose, and I'm opposed to that. Look, you can't pick and choose. If a motherfucker's batshit fucking crazy, and there's a lot of them out there, then go ahead and take care of that person. But you can't sit there and say, well, you know what? This guy's crazy. He's probably going to shoot up a school because every child that's in this school says, hey, if we're going to have a school shooting, this is the guy that's going to do it, i.e. Florida. But, we really can't do anything to him, i.e. the local police, the FBI, and everyone who knew this motherfucker was crazy. But yet my neighbor called and said, I have a bunch of 30-round magazines, and they're going to kick my fucking door in for it. That's what I'm talking about. That's fucking bullshit.
Well, that's the thing. If somebody gets hurt,
school, but yet they're going to kick my door in for a fucking magazine.
If somebody gets hurt in one of these situations with these bullshit laws, I think the gun community in this country is going to explode.
Well, and they should.
It's like, they look, I hate to bring this topic up, but it's just to prove the point. Ruby Ridge, both sides were wrong on that. And,
I will totally agree with you on that. Obviously both sides were wrong. And I know all the gun guys like to look at the government as being wrong on it, but no, both sides were totally in the fucking wrong.
Because what ended up happening was, that they basically kept going after that guy to cut those barrels, which was bullshit. But the guy cut the barrels, which was bullshit. And then there's this impossible situation. So they created this nightmare scenario where there's ATF agents in the woods with guns. There's a boy in the woods with his dog. They interact. I think they believe the dog attacked the agent. The agent shot the dog. And then I think the boy shot the agent. And then another agent shot the boy,
then the guy's wife got shot on the porch while she was holding the baby. And
that's an entirely different. You're now at a standoff. You have a coordinate. But the thing is, as well as I do, if we're in the woods, whether we're working or not working, and a dog attacks us, I'm shooting the fucking dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, you and I also both know if we were 12 years old and we're walking in the woods with our dog and somebody shoots our dog, we're killing a motherfucker.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's like it's a nightmare. And here's the thing: stupid laws and stupid behavior by stupid people, stupid Randy Weaver and stupid ATF agents. When morons collide, it creates tragedies, and we are getting set up here for like major moron interaction. You get some guy who's in his house. He's not real rational. He's not the most friendly dude, or maybe he's just, I don't know, whatever. He's got 30-round magazines, and all of a sudden, Mr. Red Flag guy comes through the door. The 30-round magazine guy is not engaged in any behavior that he reasonably expects to be hit by a SWAT team. So he thinks he's getting home invaded. You have mutual combat, and it's a bloody fucking mess. And this is going to break this whole thing wide. I'm scared shitless. This is going to go fucking crazy. And that's why you have, like, what was it? There was a sheriff in New Jersey that's like, I am not enforcing this. And see, that's what everybody, even the gun people, they're like, yeah, right on, Cleo, right on, right on, constitutional. Which is true. Good for him. I'm not even sure what his motivations are. But at the end of the day, that guy has to be like, I don't want to end up in a Ruby Ridge situation. This is fucking retarded. I'm not doing it.
Well, he also doesn't want to have any of his officers killed trying to take a goddamn 30-round magazine from a law-abiding citizen either.
Which is a Ruby Ridge situation.
Exactly. It's bullshit, And, I mean, the smart Leos, the chiefs that have balls will be like, you know what? I mean, we'll enforce it if it's conducive. Because I know if chief of police says, well, we're not enforcing this, that means they're not kicking down your fucking door to get your magazines. But if they pull you over at a traffic stop and you have a truck gun with 30-round magazine, they're going to take it.
It reminds me of how the cops used to enforce the machine gun
enforcement.
Well, it reminds me of how the cops used to enforce the machine gun. It is selective enforcement. They used to enforce the machine gun over 30-round magazine rule in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
There used to be I don't know if the rules, I think they may have gotten rid of it. I'm not even sure how that works.
It's gone now, but
yeah. But there was a rule in Ohio for probably decades. This is before the internet. This is before gun forums. This is before social media and everybody was talking. But there was a rule in Ohio. If you had a magazine that held more than 30 rounds under Ohio revised code, that is a machine gun. So the reality is you could have gone to any gun show in Ohio and with half a brain found tons of magazines that held more than 30 rounds. Any 40 round AK magazine or
look at all the 75 and 100 round AK-AR drums.
Because here's the thing, they passed this law. Nobody really knew this happened. Nobody really enforced it. Nobody even was like, what are you talking about? There were people running around with these magazines that they were like, what? There were cops probably running around Ohio with these magazines that were like, I had no idea. But here's what would happen. If you were a doper and you got jammed up and they searched your car and they found, some guns and dope, if they found magazines over 30 rounds, they would all of a sudden be like, oh, look, machine gun, because it's called, it's racking and stacking. You're very familiar.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden now you get a dope charge, a gun charge, and 3 machine gun charges. Well, we'll plead it down because you're looking at 65 years. If you plead guilty to the other charges, we'll take the machine gun charges off your fucking charge sheet. And, and that's how they would realistically, they just use it as a tool. If you were a dickhead and you were on the radar, and some cop was smart and saw the magazines, he'd be like, oh, by the way, machine gun. And, but the thing is that won't fly now because you're in selective enforcement and video cameras and microphones and cell phones. And so you see in the past, they used to have these laws, they would pass them and they were so ridiculous, but nobody ever really enforced them or knew about them. But now everybody's watching everybody, and it's all documented. And you're going to immediately have situations. Well, I got 30-round mags, or I got this, or I got this is going to explode. You can't pass these bullshit laws anymore, and kind of like, well, nobody really cares about those laws.
Yeah, well, and and Kasich has been here in Ohio. He's been pushing these fucking red laws. I mean, Kasich's a dick.
Kasich's pushing the red flag laws?
Oh yes, he is. Yeah, I heard about that maybe 2-3 weeks ago. He was pushing it.
Isn't he out of office in January?
Yes, he is. But it was kind of like his last fucking hurrah. That I don't know if he's trying to make a political stance, hoping it'll help him in 2020. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, really? You're supporting red flag laws, you fucking dick.
Look, the nation got a glimpse of John Kasich during the 2016 election, and they haven't quite figured it out yet because John Kasich's aw shucks. Did you know John Kasich's father was a mailman? You probably didn't know that. Yeah, because he always says it. That's the joke. My father was a mailman.
Okay, whatever. Basically on the government dole.
Yeah. So
my father likes son. Oh,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. When people haven't quite figured out yet, people in politics know this, but I don't think the average voter has realized it yet. They all talk about Donald Trump's a megalomaniac. He's crazy. He's aggressive. He's uncouth. Can't be a all these things you can say about Donald Trump, and most of them generally are pretty, if not true, they're pretty close. John Kasich is a megalomaniac. John Kasich, for his aw shucks and gee whiz and all this, John Kasich is a fucking maniac. He thinks I guarantee you he's going to primary Trump in 2020.
Oh yeah, sure he is. Oh, I mean, anyone who thinks that's not going to happen is living in a fucking bubble.
Well, think about it like this. Let's say Donald Trump doesn't run in 2020, which again, I predicted the day he was elected because I think it's a power play. But let's say he doesn't run in 2020 because he's like, it's a power play. I could come back if y'all keep fucking this up. Or maybe he gets impeached, or maybe he dies in office, or whatever million reasons that Donald Trump doesn't run in 2020. John Kasich will all of a sudden pop up and be like, here I am, guys. I told you. And it's like, he's so it's like, okay, there's Mike Pence, right? And there's Nikki Haley, right? And there's all these other people that are actually viable candidates, that are in politics, that actually matter. And would you please go the fuck away, you megalomaniac? John Kasich. Something's wrong with him. Like, his perception of himself, it's weird. There's something wrong with that dude. I hate John Kasich.
John Kasich he's not right in the head.
I hate that dude. Oh, hey, speaking of which, do you realize, did you hear what they're, I don't know if they passed this or if it's proposed. Now it's in the red flag laws. I guess now in New York, they want, if you want to get a gun, they want access to your social media. Did you?
Yeah, I heard that. Yes.
Dude, we are fucking dead meat.
Dude, thankfully, I have an FFL and a CCW, so that may help me.
Hey, you know what?
I am, if they have access to my social media, dude, I am so fucked. Especially if they have access to, like, my porn records. Oh, my God. Between social media and porn, I am fucked.
Oh my God. Dude, just this episode of what we've talked about, they were so, I mean, like, here's the thing. Let me tell, here's my plan of the world if in the future. If in the future Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders or New York takes over the country, and like America becomes what California, Illinois, and New York have become. I wish everybody good luck. I will enjoy watching the show trials from Belize or Singapore or somewhere else because my shit is out of here. So I will be like Taiwan. I'll be like Chiang Kai-shek in some third world country building an army to reinvade America because I'll be like, because the show trials. Can you imagine, like, if like Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez actually got to be in power? Like,
Bernie Sanders for president, Cortez is VP. Wow, wow. So you know what? I mean that's so. You know what? Here's the thing with that.
Nobody puts on a show trial like a communist, dude. They're the greatest.
Yeah, you know what though? I mean, seriously, when you think about it. Okay, let's just say in 2020, it's Sanders Cortez or Taco Cortez or whatever the fuck.
God.
Okay, let's say that's the ticket and they win. Talk about 4 years of totally nothing being done. Because look, even on the Democrat side of the fucking aisle, they are fucking batshit fucking crazy.
Like isn't what's her name? Nancy Pelosi and some other Democrat have come out and they're like, we're going to have to be careful. We can't go too far left because the best thing Donald Trump could ever have happen is going to be a Democratic Congress. I believe that Donald Trump is at his best is when he has somebody to fight with.
And this is a lot of the far right people and a lot of the Tea Party, and look, I'm a Tea Partyist myself. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of your pro-gun, conservative, constitutionalist, whatever, they love Trump, but they're like, oh my God, he banned bump stuff, blah blah. But look, the truth is, Trump's not a Republican. Trump is a 60s/70s Democrat. The problem is the Democrats have gone so far to the left and the Republicans have gone so far to the fucking right. Donald Trump actually looks fucking good.
Republicans have not gone right. Republicans have gone left. And actually, here's a story. We talked about this when John McCain died. I'm going to bring it up right now to prove the point. John McCain's funeral, when George Herbert Walker Bush died, yes. They still have flags on half-mast around here. I don't know where they are around you, but they're still half-mast.
I actually had to take my flag down 2 days ago because we had one of our storms came through and it shredded my flag. So yeah. I'm flying no flag right now.
So, but like John McCain's funeral was so fucking shitty. Like people were giving eulogies and they were kind of making these sideways kind of like jabs at Trump, and they were told Trump shouldn't come to the funeral. Not that he wanted to or he would have, but it's like they all should have just been classy and whatever. But when George Herbert Walker Bush's funeral happened, Daddy Bush told everybody, we're going to knock this bullshit off, and I want this man at my funeral, and you're all going to fucking act like goddamn adults. And it really made John McCain look like an asshole.
That's because John McCain, first off, let's face it, John McCain was an asshole.
But here's the news story. This is why I'm bringing this up. And we all know this, but it's coming back again. Reports are now saying that McCain associates shared the Steele dossier, which is the fake, unverified dossier that they used to FISA Trump. Yeah. And here's John McCain, his biggest fear when he was dying was that the story on the FISA courts and the Steele dossier and spying on a presidential campaign was going to get hung around his neck because he wasn't going to be here to fucking defend himself, because John McCain was deeply involved in this Steele dossier. Because like I remember like a member of his staff went to Canada to pick up a copy and they brought it into, like, I don't know, someone at the FBI or something, but unknowingly, like, I guess the FBI had already had it. So, like, the McCain people were involved in directly trying to undermine Trump's candidacy, and with all this crazy intelligence bullshit. And if this FISA court thing turns, the only reason this hasn't turned into bigger than Watergate is because it's the left is controlling the narrative. If this was reversed, if it was Nixon doing this, if the Republicans had done this to a Democrat, but again, Republicans did do this to Donald Trump, just like Democrats did, but everybody did this to Trump. This story would be a huge fucking story. But that's the problem with Republicans. They're just as fucking guilty in all this as the Democrats.
Oh yeah,
all these problems. And so, like, but John McCain, like, I swear, if this FISA thing turns, and it turns, like, the media is finally supposed to be like, okay, we violated people's rights, and we have a the administrative state is the fourth branch of government, and they're not accountable to anybody, and they have their own set of rules, and they're just like the aristocracy in a kingdom, and it's this whole crazy bullshit. They will hang this fucking thing around John McCain's fucking neck, because Comey will be like, it was John McCain. John McCain brought it to me.
Well, and you know what, though? That's not necessarily wrong, though. No, I mean, I know they're going to scapegoat the dead guy.
Yeah, they're going to scapegoat the dead guy.
At the end of the day, they're not necessarily wrong either, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's involved in all this. So that's just like, Kasich and McCain and, Jeb Bush and all these guys. It's like, and like freaking Comey. Oh my God. I'll tell you what, Comey, what a son. I'm to the point now, Comey's face, I'm like, really, dude? Just stop. He's so smug. It's like, God almighty. We got to get off this, though.
Yeah. Hey, look. There's let me talk about the meme of the week.
What's the meme of the week?
I actually sent it to you
just now.
A couple minutes ago.
Okay.
It is one of my biggest pet peeves. Well, actually, you know what? That's not even a fair question, because I have so many fucking pet peeves, and you've known me for so many years. You'll be like, pick one. Okay.
Here it is. You sent it via email. Let me take a look. Go ahead.
Okay. One of the things I fucking hate and despise, and people that have followed us on social media for years will know that if you use the term booger hook, I will not only delete the post, I will ban you from all of our social media, because I hate the fucking term booger hook. You're a fucking moron. You're a sophomoric, and you need to grow the fuck up. I hate the goddamn term. And if you like to use
phrase booger hook in the bang switch or something.
Yes, booger hook. Take your booger hook off the bang switch. If you use that term, I will ban you from every form of social media we have. And if you don't like it, fuck you. Go the fuck away, you sophomoric dick.
Did somebody use it, I guess?
No. No one has used it lately, thank God, because I haven't had to ban anyone lately. But
we used to. Oh, you know what? We used to, when we had the 7 a.m. photographs with the hot girls with the guns. Almost invariably, almost every one of these girls would have their finger on the trigger because they're models, not SEAL Team 6.
And more often than not, they weren't even real fucking guns.
Yeah.
But
I hadn't thought about that since we stopped posting half-naked chicks on Facebook.
So anyway, the meme of the week is a meme with 4 pictures, and the comment is, and you'll post it in, I'm sure you'll post it in the comment section. It says, people who make gun owners look retarded by using booger hook in a sentence, and it's got 4 pictures. The first picture is how their friends see them, how the world sees them, how women see them and how they see themselves, and you just have to mean. And it's so fucking true.
Let's see here.
The important one is how they see themselves, and it's
they think they're Arlie Ermy.
Yes, they all think they're Arlie Ermy and fucking a Full Metal Jacket. They're the biggest badass on the block because they were the first one to tell the internet to take your finger off the trigger. Oh my God, really? Fuck you, you goddamn pretentious fucking dick. If you actually ever use the word take your booger hook off the bang switch, you probably had more than one dick in your mouth. You can edit that if you want.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to edit it. I mean, look, what
if I piss people off with that because it's so fucking stupid. Look, if you're a gun guy and you shoot and you actually have more than one gun and you actually shoot more than 50 rounds a year, you know trigger control, you know safety. You don't have to be the first guy on the fucking internet forum to say, oh my God, that picture shows of them with the finger on the trigger. You need to take it off. Stop. Everyone who's a fucking gun guy who shoots more than 2 rounds a year and who has more than one 22 rifle knows safety. You know, I mean, just stop already.
I can tell you have been on Facebook. I can tell. I can tell. You've been, let me guess, you've been in an AR-15 Facebook group, haven't you?
Surprisingly enough, yes, I have.
Because you are all jacked out of shape about something.
Oh my God. I just fucking hate it. I mean, it's
what ends up happening in the firearms community is you have a look, and I'm not complaining about other people. I'm talking about myself, and I'm going to have a real conversation here. Everybody's always a little insecure on some level because there's always somebody better than us, whoever us is. And so
dude, there's so many fucking people better than me and you.
Yeah, and so
who cares?
But the thing is, so what ends up happening is like some of these concepts will become tropes in and of themselves because it becomes like, yeah, we have this idea like, the booger hook on the bang switch, or you'll have people where it's like, what's some of the other ones they'll do? Like magazine versus clip.
Oh,
that's another. Yeah, that's another one. So you have all these little tropey things.
Let me interrupt you and tell you a secret. I like to go on Facebook and use the term clip just to troll people and start fucking arguments.
You're just telling me that, right? You're not really doing it, are you?
Fucking guy. I do it all the time just to be a dick. Because who doesn't like a 30-round clip-a-zine?
Magazine clip. Well, look, this is really gonna hurt some feelings of some people, and I don't mean it to, but if you're honest and you look in the mirror, if you're a gun person, it's true. Most gun people don't really shoot that much. They think they do, but what they do is they how do I put this? It's easier to read a sentence and repeat it than it is to go out and shoot 1,000 rounds a month and try to achieve and maintain skill.
Yes.
I mean, there's somebody in this podcast that heard booger hook on the bang switch today for the very first time. And it is possible that they will use that phrase every day for the next 30 years. And it's super easy. And they can get creds in their circles. But if they get a timer and get on the range and have to go spend money and effort and actually look like an idiot trying to run a gun, that's hard. And it's easy to do the gotcha game on the internet.
How many times, and this usually isn't on film, how many times are we at the range when I get done running a string and you go, dude, seriously? What the fuck? Are you retarded? And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I am. Maybe my downs kicked in today, because that's reality, man. You are not a fucking super freak every time you go to the goddamn range, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It takes practice. It takes skill. And you know what that means? It takes rounds down range. And it's not 50 rounds a year. It's thousands of rounds a year. And you know why I'm awesome? Because my girlfriend tells me every day I'm awesome.
Yeah. What does your wife think about that? What does your wife think about that?
Oh, she doesn't fucking care, because she knows I'm stupid. But, you know, hey, you know what? What the wife doesn't know won't hurt me.
Hey, have you ever heard of two magazines called Gun World and World of Firepower?
Yes, actually, I have. Are they not? Are they the ones that are going out of business?
Apparently so. I think I've heard of Gun World, but I don't know if I've ever heard of World of Firepower.
I have. World of Firepower deals with a lot of Class 3 machine guns and shit like that. It's kind of like, you know, the whole, what is that? The Harrison publications. What was that?
Harris went out of it. I think Harris is gone.
Yeah, it was like, you know how they used to publish all their different magazines. It was kind of like that. World of Firepower they deal with, like, you know, submachine guns, machine guns. But I'm not. I haven't bought a gun magazine. The only gun magazines I get in the mail is my NRA political magazine. I haven't bought a gun magazine in probably 15 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got the internet. I don't need gun.
I have a Harris story for you. I don't think I ever told you this. I was where I used to previously work. I don't know if I was at the if I was
Did you
NRA
for Harris magazine that said you were amazing?
No, I was. I don't know if I was at NRA or if I was at SHOT Show, but I was there for my previous employer, and I had to get, like, I got teamed up with this. I'm not going to say who it is. This person that worked at Harris Publications, and this person was in charge of a lot of this gun magazine stuff. And this person was born and bred and raised in New York City, literally lived their entire life in New York City. And this person, yes. And this
remember you telling me about this.
This person was it was so odd to me that this person was that deeply involved in this gun media property. Because I'm like, it'd be like all of a sudden if I made John 1911 about Decatur to brain surgeons. It was just like, what are you doing here? And I mean, that was a long time ago, but it's like, I just thought it was odd. Like, okay, I mean, why are you in this business? Why is your business hiring you? Why are you the person? Well, the reason, then the answer is you went out of business. So, ultimately.
Yeah, well, pretty much at the end of the day, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, hey, did you hear Elizabeth Warren says she's not a person? She's not a person of color now?
Well, of course not. The DNA test came out.
Well, she came out and she didn't say this is what because first it was I am, and then it was, I am whatever it is, her term is. And then it was, well, my mother told me.
My family has always said this. And,
then some Native American tribal council came out and said, you better shut the fuck up. And so now but here's the thing. I'm starting to wonder if Elizabeth Warren is she from Connecticut? Where's she from? Vermont? I think she's maybe Vermont.
She's from Massachusetts.
Is she from Massachusetts?
I'm not going to swear to it, but I think she is. I think she's a Massachusetts girl.
Well, here's the thing. Why did she do her DNA test? And then why did she now, it all fell apart on her. Why did she come out and say she's not a person of color? Because she thinks she's going to run for president.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
I mean, I hope she runs for president. Pocahontas would be awesome. But it's like, I mean, seriously, Democrats. I mean, I'm like, if I was like, you were like, hey, Marky, I want you to come here and be a consultant for the Democratic Party, and if I had a fiduciary responsibility to tell them the truth, I'd be like, dude, you can't run this woman. You can't run her. You're going to get hammered. You can't run her.
But you know what? I think she's still going to run because honestly, I think the Democrats are that fucking insane.
Have John Kasich and Elizabeth Warren ever been seen in the same room together at the same time, or are they the same person? Because
well, you know, I'm a firm believer that that Kasich has a vagina.
Oh God. John. Hey, as oddly as it sounds, you know, John Kasich sent us a Christmas card this year. Because we're on his mailing list. Oh yeah, he sent. I mean, it's like I'm sure 300,000 people got the Christmas card. But yeah, we got the family Christmas card from John Kasich this year. It's him and his wife, and I think his 2 daughters.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go to the Hobby Lobby, or Michael's, or Target, or Walmart, and buy like go to the Dollar Tree and get a frame for $1. And frame that Christmas card and hang it in the armory, please.
I think we threw it out. I don't know if we still have it or not.
What the fuck's the matter with you? God damn it,
dude! We get shit from like Rob Portman and John Kasich, and we get all kinds of shit.
I want John Kasich's Christmas card framed on the wall of the armory.
Well, you know what? What I want to do is I should go to a John Kasich public event when wearing a QAnon patch like that SWAT officer and have a photograph taken.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Did you hear about the SWAT officer with Mike Pence? Where I don't even know what QAnon is, but I don't want to go into it because I think it's going to be like we used to have the Illuminati guys coming after us. So, but just a troll Kasich.
Oh, you know, I mean, the Illuminati, I mean, I have to look over my shoulder every night for the Illuminati because, you know, the last time I did my, what's that sign where you take your finger and thumb in a circle and you hold up your other three fingers, you know, the Illuminati thing. Last time I did that in public, I had people following me for months.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to do pop culture, and then we're going to do a crime story, and then we're going to call this one done before Christmas. Okay, so in pop culture news, because 12-year-old Marky is so excited, I'm like a little kid, like I'm so happy this is happening. There's a new Godzilla movie. There's a new Godzilla movie coming out.
Dude, you are such a dork.
Have you seen the previews for this movie?
Thing. You're not even a nerd. You're just a dork.
Have you seen the previews for the new Godzilla movie?
I did, and it was just like, that's not even exciting.
It was awesome.
It wasn't. It was
awesome.
Stupid.
When I was a kid, they used to have remember, like, they'd have the Japanese guy, and they were all like 5 feet tall, and they wore the full body rubber suit. And the thing would shake when they would walk, and then they'd have like a little model of a city, and then like to have another guy dressed as like another monster, and they would have like Godzilla versus whatever, and it was basically pantomime WWE. That was the movie. They are literally doing a Godzilla movie of Godzilla versus, I don't know if it's Mothra or whatever this thing is, but it's going to be like super sci-fi with lots of graphics. I am so fucking excited.
Fuck Godzilla, fuck Mothra. Look, the only Japanese motherfucker I want to see is Ultraman. Do you even remember Ultraman?
Is Ultraman the one where it was like five people made one robot?
No. That was like Thundercats or Thunder Tigers or Thunder Lizards or Thunder Douchebags or something like that. No. This was the guy in the fucking suit who took his hands and like right at his wrist, he would make like a cross with his hands and shoot like fucking laser beams out. He fought Godzilla, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
wait a
fucking
minute.
Ultraman was the shit.
You know what? I just Googled.
Goddamn frog.
I just Googled it. And man, this is a short Japanese guy in a rubber outfit. That's Ultraman.
No, that's Ultraman, dude. Look, Godzilla's just an overgrown frog. Ultraman is the shit.
Hold on. I'm Googling Ultraman versus Godzilla. Holy shit. Holy shit, that's real. That is so awesome. Because look, I just have to tell you, when they did the Godzilla movie in New York City, it had Matthew Broderick in it. That was so awful. That was so fucking terrible. And it's like, we need a real Godzilla movie, and this thing looks fucking cool. I was really impressed by it. So Ultraman. So okay, all right. So
look, and here's the beautiful thing about Ultraman. The suit is so fucking hokey, dude.
It's a latex suit he's got a helmet on.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, this is in the 70s and the 60s. So
yes, Ultraman is the shit.
Ultraman, I think you're just trolling me. I don't think you like Ultraman.
You versus Z, baby. No, seriously. I grew up with. Look, let me tell you something. I'll tell you a secret. If you Google this movie and you watch it, you'll be like, what a cheesy piece of shit B-grade movie this was. Maybe it's a C-grade movie. It's a bad movie. But it's called Attack of the Killer Mushroom People.
I've heard of that movie.
Okay, it's one of these cheesy movies about a ship that gets trapped in the Sargasso Sea, and there's these mushroom people that come out. Well, as a child, and I don't know, I'm like, 7, 8 years old. That movie scared the fucking shit out of me. That movie was the scariest fucking movie I've ever seen. I had nightmares over that movie. And when you look at it now, you go, wow, really? That's not only a bad movie, it's cheesy. It's not even scary. It's just bad. I mean, it's horribly bad. But that's the movie as a child that scared the shit out of me. Go fucking figure. So, hey, when you think of Ultraman as the badass, hey, I fucking wet myself over attacking the killer mushroom people. So what the fuck?
Attack of the Killer Mushroom People.
Yeah, dude, that movie is so bad.
Well, okay, did it scare you as a kid, then you watched it later and you were like, hey, I was stupid.
Yeah, because, as you become a teenager and you start watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre when that comes out, and you start seeing all these horror movies and you go, wow, I pissed myself over Attack of the Killer Mushroom People, but I got a boner watching this guy chop these fucking people up with chainsaws. Go fucking figure, What's it about me?
Well, see, the thing is, Texas Chainsaw Massacre would not be considered sensational today because we have all these Al Qaeda types and ISIS types chopping people's heads off all the time.
But back in the day, because I remember when Texas Chainsaw Massacre came.
Oh, dude, they wanted to ban that movie.
Oh yeah, that was oh shit,
that was a scandal. That movie was like. That was a scandal, that movie. I remember.
It's badass, at the time. Now, the bar has been raised by today's standard. It's whatever, But at the time, it was like, oh, holy shit.
Well, okay, so all right, you know what? We're gonna have to. Maybe I might have to drag you. I don't go to movies, but I may have to drag you to the Godzilla movie. But I have this week's or this episode's crime story. Yeah, I'm gonna edit that out of the podcast. So
Just fucking with you.
now you just made my workload like twice as hard now. So, okay, so on this episode of crime, the crime story of the episode, we had a couple things going on. Like there was a Chinese student that poisoned his roommate because probably the Chinese student, I think the roommate was black and the Chinese student's racist. And then Pike County Sheriff, not too far from us, he was stealing money from dopers to pay for his gambling. And or a doctor that lay dead in a storeroom at a hospital for 2 days because they run that hospital like it's a Home Depot. Don't find the bodies. But there was one story that came out of Montana that was so astounding to me that I'm not even giving anyone a choice. This is the crime story of the episode.
I don't know if I've heard this one. Montana?
Montana man told police a hunter mistook him for a Bigfoot and shot at him.
God damn, I did hear this story. That's fucking amazing.
So, okay, let me read this for you. But it gets better. A Montana man was...
No choice. This is the story to tell.
This is the story to tell. So here we go. I'm going to read this. A Montana man was out target shooting when he became a target himself. And it was because a man, quote, mistook him for Bigfoot, he told authorities. The 27-year-old from Helena told dispatchers on Monday that a day earlier he had been putting up targets on public lands outside the city when bullets started flying toward him. Lewis and Clark County Sheriff Leo Dutton said in a phone interview with McClatchy News Service. The man said one bullet hit 3 feet to his left on Sunday and another whizzed past him on the right. He explained that he ran into the trees for cover as more gunfire came his way. Eventually, he came out to confront a man in a black Ford F-150 who shot at him. He said, quote, this is what the guy shooting said. I thought you were Bigfoot, the shooter told the victim. And the victim's telling of the story, according to Dutton, quote, I don't target practice, but if I see something that looks like Bigfoot, I just shoot at it.
Dude, you can't make this shit up.
It gets better. Apparently, there's a report. Here's the thing. I suspect this whole story is fake. Like, this is like a guy telling a fake story. But apparently, there's another report or a fake report, I think, of a woman who was claiming last year or earlier this year that some in the same area that she was shot at. And for some reason, she interfaced with the shooter, and they said they thought she was Bigfoot.
No, really?
There's something going on.
Old story?
Oh, here we go. I got it right here. Hold on. Okay, so local law enforcement are now looking for leads on who the person in the black F-150 might be, though Dutton said, quote, there was some question about the veracity of the report, because it was called in the day after the alleged near-death incident, and because the man didn't describe the alleged shooter. The man also said he didn't want to pursue charges and didn't want to talk to deputies. So, listen to this. Hold on. It gets better. Police checked the area where the shooting was reported, but didn't find the pickup. But after reports of the alleged shooting appeared in the Helena Independent Record, another woman came forward with a similar experience, potentially bolstering the man's story. The woman told law enforcement she had been shot at by a man in a black F-150 as well. Bigfoot didn't come up in the woman's report, according to Dutton, but the woman did give a better description of the man, who she said she also confronted about shooting at her. This is fucking awesome. So the next time I'm hunting in Montana, I am going to bring this shit up. I'm going to look at my guide and I'm going to say, I just want you to know, if I see something that looks like Bigfoot, I shoot at it.
Seriously, that's. I mean, on one hand, it's awesome. On the other hand, it's kind of sad. But it's like, really?
You either have a guy that's like out of his mind, or you have a serial killer that is getting away with it so far.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is, I'm looking for this guy in this black pickup, and I'm going to try to link him to unsolved murders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? We're a tangent before we go out of here. But you remember there used to be all these. I used to talk all these crime serial killer investigators that used to contract with the FBI. And I remember this woman. She was telling me about all the different serial killers and all the stuff, and the subject of, like, generally it's a white male or it's whatever. We have very few female serial killers, and we have very few, if any. At the time, it's like one woman was a serial killer. She was the lesbian that was killing the truckers in Florida. That was the first documented one. And then it was like the idea of like black serial killers. It's always white guys.
Did you just gender identify her as a lesbian?
She was a lesbian, I remember. Then they executed her. But anyway, the woman, the investigator, she told me, she said, here's the truth about serial killers. She said, we know the math and we know what the odds are. Like, we know we have, and so we know how they have to kind of play out. She said, we believe there are serial killers out there that are of, non-white, non-male, that we just haven't detected them yet. And they're getting away from, they're not being detected because people aren't looking for them. And when you see a story like this, it makes you wonder if you've got some weird guy shooting at people that's potential, has a problem that could, along these lines. But did you hear about the guy? He was in jail. He's a black guy, and they've connected him to like 90 murders or something.
Dude, I heard about that. It was just like, holy shit. Okay, first off, this guy's like doing like double or triple life anyway in jail. He like confessed, and it's like it turns out he's like the most prolific serial killer we've had in the last 50 fucking years.
Yeah, I think he operated for close to 30 years, definitely 20. And I think there was even a murder in Cincinnati. But they're still trying to figure out if he's just a guy shooting the shit, like bullshitting because he's bored in jail, or if this is all real. But I think they're leaning towards it's real because they may have even found stuff.
Yeah, because, I mean, the thing is, even if it's bullshit, they're going to take him out of prison, bring him to different jurisdictions, and it breaks up his day because, he's serving like double or triple life anyway. Mm-hmm. So what does he have to lose? Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because, like, if you think
it's looking like it's valid, though.
I haven't followed it. I think they were thinking it was going that way, but I don't think they'd gone that deep into it. But it's interesting because now with social media, and this is kind of even circling back to what I was talking about with passing bullshit laws that really lay there that nobody enforces. The thing is, now we have so much social media and stuff pops up and gets disseminated so far and wide, you're more likely to catch this kind of stuff because people, like a detective in one city, could be like, wait, black Ford F-150 shooting at people. Didn't we have a bunch of that like 3 years ago over here in like Illinois? And, they start figuring stuff out. And that's kind of how this all happens. It used to be the serial killer, he or she would operate in the area and then move on. And nobody, unless somebody was really motivated and smart, dots, because, you had to basically, it was phone calls and paperwork.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, look. I mean, you watch if you have cable TV and you watch the ID channel. I mean, how many shows do you hear about these truck drivers, the international truck drivers? That travel the byways that have been killing prostitutes for years all across the country, and they never tie them together because they're. I mean, they're in Ohio today, they're in Michigan tomorrow, they're in Kansas the day after that, I mean, because they're all over the country. And it turns out they catch these guys and they're serial killers, but it takes years to catch them because there's, again, before social media, it was difficult.
Yeah. Well, actually, think about this: unintended consequences. Definitely before 9/11, and I don't know when they instituted the CDL process and when it got really automated, but dude, back in the day, there was a time if you were a guy, you had little to no education, and if you had all kinds of problems, like in an area, I can say like you had a bad childhood, you engage in all this criminal activity. About the only place two places you could get a job would be a construction site, but a construction site generally is going to be in the area where you live or a truck driver.
Yeah.
And it used to have a lot of, and there's going to be truck drivers that don't believe that they're going to be offended by this, but there was a time that over the road or cross country truck drivers, that was an industry that could attract and a borderline people, and they could function for a long period of time because there were no computers, there was no internet, there was no one really cared that much about crashing the fertilizer truck. You know what I mean? Like, it was just different. And now that things are becoming more automated and everything's more accountable and everybody's starting to watch everything, a lot of this stuff's getting caught a lot sooner. It's kind of interesting, like that's one of the unintended consequences of 9/11, and one of the unintended consequences of is it Timothy McVeigh? Who's the guy that blew up the federal building? Is that McVeigh?
Yeah, McVeigh.
Yeah, I mean, because it was like nobody, they just didn't care, and I was like, oh, whatever. It's going to be, it's like eventually when a crazy person goes out and buys a bunch of hammers and does something with a bunch of hammers or does something with chainsaws, then they might start, locking down chainsaws and hammers. It's just kind of how the world works.
I'm just glad they haven't federally regulated chainsaws yet, because I've got several bodies in the backyard. Again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm of that age.
And this wraps up episode 118 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to see any pictures or stories or links to the things we discussed, go to our website, john1911.com. We'll have stuff in the comments section. And remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.